All right, guys, you're staring at one of the most underrated bikes. I call it the Rodney Dangerfield of motorcycles in the paddock. If you young kids watching this right now do not know who Rodney Dangerfield is, there's that thing called Google. Look it up. You will laugh after you watch this. So trust me. One of the most beautiful bikes, I think, in the paddock right now. There's something about yellow that's just so sexy. So HEP Twisted Tea Suzuki, presented by Progressive Insurance. I'm with Travis Soules. I didn't even know he's been around 10 years. That's my fault. I screwed up his name. So I didn't start out right here. But nonetheless, we're here with Brandon Hartranft's bike. I call him the smiley face assassin. If you guys don't know, the guy doesn't smile that much. And I always bust him up a little bit about, it's okay, man, smiles. And when he does, I'm like, oh, wow, there it is. He's happy to ride dirt bikes, you know? So, that's exactly how he is. All right, so Travis, give us a little rundown on the motorcycle. Let's break down the engine. Who does the engine? How does Brandon like his power? What's going on here?
Twisted Development came up with our new engine package for this year. We run a works transmission that we got from factory Suzuki. As far as the full internals of the engine, I don't really know a lot about it. The engine that Brandon likes, this thing was a power horse. So much power. First time he rode it, fell in love with it.
So what I heard, there's a couple of factory pieces that Suzuki gave the team. So we're working with factory wire harnesses.
Yep.
And
well, it's a stock harness with the factory ECU.
Okay.
Yep.
Factory ECU, which, if you guys are watching this, I remember a long time ago there was some jokes about how James Stewart's dad said, James ain't going to ride unless he has a factory ECU. And everyone's like, oh, my God, that's so funny. But for me, with these bikes nowadays, ECUs are the most important thing on the bike.
Yes, they are. And with this one, we rode this package with the stock ECU, and then we put the works one on, and Brandon goes, I won't ride it without. Like, it's that clean. It just makes the throttle connection there, and it's just super clean all the way through.
Yeah, so that's a great point that Travis brought up, is connection to the rear wheel. You guys are riding stock Suzukis or may even go to a Vortex or something out there. The connection that you get when you go to an aftermarket ECU and then a next step up when you have a factory unit is unmatched. So these guys are hopping on 5-foot tabletops to get off to another 3-foot jump. So they need immediate throttle response, and to have that factory ECU is just a little peace of mind that it's a safety factor for Brandon and obviously more horsepower. So transmission is also a special piece?
It's also a special piece. Works Suzuki. The gear ratios are just a little bit different. We have different options to change what gear ratios they want. Brandon, I don't know exactly the ratio that he's on, but this is the one that he picked, and his practice bike and race bikes are identical. So
talking to Dustin Pipes a little bit about the transmission, is going from a stock Suzuki, you have second to third gear transition, so it just kind of closes that gap from second to third. So when they shift up to third, the power is immediately right there, and there's no lag, especially in outdoors. I guess that's the most important piece. When you have really deep tilled up dirt and you go to shift to third, sometimes you have a bog or just kind of just bleh, it feels luggy. That doesn't happen with factory transmissions. Again, the small things really matter when it comes to these bikes. And the engine is also mated, I guess, from Jamie from Twisted, does everything.
Yes, he does. And another thing with the works transmission, too, anybody that's ridden any bike, to shift, sometimes you have to pull up really hard or push down really hard. These things are super short. So, like, he barely has to pull up on it, and it grabs a gear, and it grabs a gear, and he barely has to step on it to shift it down. You can see it when you get on it, too. Like, it's... The first time I rode it, I'm like, this doesn't feel right, because you feel like you're pulling up against nothing, and it shifts into a gear.
So it's really positive.
Yeah, it's really positive.
Yeah, and I mean, I go back to the days where you have to shift a third to hit a triple. The last thing you want to do is hit a false neutral.
Absolutely.
No one wants to hit a step on, step off, and hit a neutral. That's a bad thing. That's a femur. That's a collarbone. That's something not good.
Could be a career.
Could be a career,
yeah,
correct.
Gotta be perfect.
All right, so let's move on to the chassis. We talked a little bit about this. Pretty much stock. You're on stock mounts. Nothing really different from the standard edition on the Suzuki, right?
The only thing different would be just tie bolts. Normally for tie, it kind of tightens the bike up a little bit. Outdoors, normally we would go to some steel bolts like a pivot shaft or some axles just to kind of get a little more flex. But Supercross, you just want it tight.
So is he on tie pivots as well?
Tie pivot, tie axles, pretty much every bolt is tie.
Have you guys tried different pivots just to see for comfort? Or this is what he picks?
Here I haven't. Other Suzukis, they have a solid one, so it's solid tie. It's not hollow like this one. Some positive feedback for some people, but that one was almost just too much, just solid. So
Brandon, I don't even know how much he weighs. Maybe you do.
I think we're right around like the 190, okay. But if I'm wrong, sorry, Brandon. but yeah, he's one of the bigger boys.
You know how sensitive Supercross guys are about their weight and how they look rolling in the pit, so we don't want to piss anyone off here.
No.
So Showa is factory Showa internals, but the man, the guy's been around forever. Dude, Clark Jones, Noleen, he does the suspension for the team. Has Brandon evolved his suspension setting, or where are we at with him we're round 6 now?
Yeah, from when I started back in November with the team. Obviously, normally you're always a little soft. We've been going progressively stiffer and stiffer and stiffer. At the test track, we found a setting that really, really worked. We came to A1 and we were just a little on the stiff side, which I don't know if he was just riding a little more defensive and not sending it like the practice track. He's got 100 laps in, but we've come one setting softer on the rear and haven't changed it.
And we're on stock offset with the Xtrig, or do we change the offset?
21.5 offset on the Xtrigs. Okay. Yep. And then we also run the JGR pull rod, which is the adjustable one with the pills. Okay. And we're on position 4, which is 134.5 millimeters long, and I think stock is 134. Okay. So we're a half mil longer on the linkage. So
it's amazing, people. 0.5 millimeters. Okay, we're talking a half of millimeter. You guys out there are like, oh, the riders can't feel that. I will have to beg to differ. Small increments do change motorcycles, especially the way the ride attitude is of the bike, acceleration, squat, coming into corners. So little things like that, having an adjustable pull rod is huge, and it's easy for him to adjust it for Brandon if he wants to change things.
Yep, you can leave the same knuckle or the same wishbone on and just put pills in, and they're 1 through 6. You can actually go a little bit shorter than stock or up to 1.5 mil longer than stock with the pills. And you just pop them out, put them in, put your bolt in, and that's it.
Mika handlebars, RC bend. I noticed that he's on a little bit of a bar riser with these Xtrig mounts. So talk a little bit about the density of this rubber, and then where Brandon likes his handlebars.
The density is the red density, the stiffest one that they make. And the risers, they normally come with no riser or a 5 mil, and what we're running is a 3 mil. It's one that we custom made, and then now they actually make them that we can order. So the 5 mil was just too tall, and the regular was just a little too short. So
Yoshimura muffler on this, production piece, or is it special for the team and the engine?
Production piece.
There you go. Yep. So that's kind of cool for you guys out there wanting a Suzuki. You want a little piece of what this HEP team has, the Yoshimura muffler. It's a nice piece. The RS12 is new to this bike. I think it's been out for a couple years, but for the consumer, it hasn't been out that long.
No, it really hasn't. We started testing with them a couple years ago, and now it's available to the public, and it's a great piece. You bolt it on, the fitment's good, the reliability's good, the power's good, and the quality's good. So
gearing and wheels. Talk a little bit about the gearing, what he's on, what gearing ratio he has here, and a little bit about if you guys are going to aftermarket wheels and spokes.
Okay, so the gearing, we run a 14 counter sprocket and a 55 rear, which
55.
It kind of looks like a saw blade back there, but just the way that the chassis works and everything. Gearing is 1 down in the front is 3 up in the back. So we went up 1 in the front, so we had to go up 3 in the back. So normally we would run like a 1352, which is equivalent to a 1455. Engine braking is a little bit different with the 14 on there. It's not as aggressive on the engine braking, but we tested it both ways. Same chassis length. He picked the 1455.
And wheels and spokes?
Wheels and spokes, we have DID wheels on, stock spokes, stock hubs.
Wow, stock hubs.
Stock hubs.
That's impressive, people. So, again, people always say, oh, Suzuki's not reliable, but, man, these guys are pounding these motorcycles at Supercross every Saturday night, and the stock wheels are holding up. That's a testament to how good these wheels are, so that's impressive.
Yep, yeah, they're really, really good.
I'm looking at the seat foam, and I could be wrong. Is it a little bit higher, or is that standard height?
It is a tall seat for Brandon. Brandon and the Deuce run the tall one, and then Bogo runs a standard height. And Bogo runs a standard foam. We run the guts foam.
All right. I've been asking all these questions to the mechanics here. What is your rider the most pickiest about? And second part of this, what is he the most hard on?
Pickiest thing is his clutch play. He likes to run about to where you'd think the clutch is not even going to work.
18 inches of play.
Yeah, it basically almost hits the bar with the free play on it. He's super, super picky about that. I don't understand how he doesn't stall the bike, but that's how he rides it, and he loves it.
I mean, it got to get hot during the moto. That thing's got to even have more.
He's literally clutch in, clutch out. He has no feathering. Wow. If you watch him on the track too, it's just So that's how he grew up racing, and that's what he likes. Hardest on stuff.
Hard on clutches?
Not really, because he never really uses them. Like on his practice bike, we go 20 hours on a clutch.
Okay.
which is insane. Race weekends, I put a fresh one in every weekend. Normally those migrate to the practice bikes after I pull them back out. Literally no color to them. The thickness, I measure them or I mic them before I put them in the bike and when I pull them out. And
that's just the standard production Hinson basket and all that?
Hinson basket and all that, and then just stock Suzuki plates. Okay. So.
Pegs, I'm noticing the pegs, those are nice and wide and beefy. I know there's no bar in the middle, so it's an open cleat. Yep. Get the mud to clean out. Are we on a different offset, stock offset? Where are we at?
Stock offset, and there's Scar foot pegs.
Scar. So titanium Scar foot pegs, nice and going to eat your bottom of your soles up. I don't think the normal guy out there would want that. Your Alpine Stars, $700 Alpine Stars will last about 2 months.
Yes, if you're lucky. If you're lucky.
All right, Travis. So before we wrap this thing up, you have a venture that I think is pretty cool. You're with Weston Pike and Brock Tickle. What are you doing?
I've started so a lot of these riders do like a training school. Guys come in with their bikes, they get taught how to ride them. I've put a new twist on it, and you actually get a factory mechanic for 2 days. So you bring your bike in, we go through your bikes. You also get to learn how to ride with Weston Pike, Brock Tickle. I've got Jake Weimer on board this year too as well. It's 2 days. If there's anything that you want help with, setup, clickers, gearing, whatever, we go through all that. I explain it, and I do it towards the safety of it too. There's a lot of guys that show up to these schools that spent $400 to go to the school and their chain's about to break. Yeah. So before I even let them on the track, we go through like a tech inspection. I go through their bike and I point out stuff that I really don't like. If they don't want to change it and they want to continue, that's fine. But I've told them, you know, let's put your chain on. I'll show you how to do it. I want you to get your hands dirty and see how to do it. Right. So
it's kind of like me and my kid in the garage.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't know because they've never had anybody really show them, and they're scared to do it, thinking they're going to mess it up. So that's what I'm trying to do, is just put a whole new twist on it and just show everybody. You know, obviously I didn't know a lot when I started, and I like to talk to people. I like to help people. So
that's awesome. Sounds great. How do they get a hold of you to do this?
I have a website, themotomedic1.com, or on Instagram and Facebook at themotomedic1.
All right, guys, there you go. Brandon Hartranft, the smiley face assassin. There he is. Oh, my gosh, just walking in behind us. What a perfect timing right there. Thanks a lot. Right now, the 41, look for him Saturday night. He's a good dude, great rider, and thanks for having us.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
All right, the theme of the day, getting on these bikes, feeling them out. I got the guy here, right? We're going to talk about his setup because I'm going to nitpick something right now.
It's the best bike out there.
Travis and I we're talking about your clutch play. Get over here a little bit. Get closer to me like you like me. Yep. And then there's a lot there, bro. I mean, you went forward a little bit, but how's that?
That's a little much.
Where are we at? Give me the spec.
Right there.
That's the spec?
Maybe, yeah.
That is a lot for just start your race. So give me the reason why. Has this been in effect the whole time you've been riding?
Even when I was on the KTMs, I'd literally have to have them adjusted, so I had a little bit of play. But, yeah, I don't know. I run play. That's me. That's why I'm sick.
So 6'1", 190. Travis was right.
Oh, yeah, we like
so there's play in this throttle.
A little bit. I didn't feel that yet, but we normally go.
So this is on your mechanic.
Whatever. I can't get it.
Yeah, he can't do it. He's a rider. He doesn't want to work on bikes.
I like no play. And then I like the front brake have a little bit of some.
And he's in the pocket.
And then it stops. I like that. I don't like when you breathe on it and it just stops. I like a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
So you can drag it a little bit?
If it's too tight, I pump up.
Do you drag your front brake in the ruts?
I literally rely on the front brake so bad. Like, I'll hit jumps. I'll stop with the front brake. Like it's
a rear brake?
Yeah. Like, I literally, if you watch a lot of photos, I'm like this. Just riding. I don't use fingers on the clutch, nothing.
So that's another great question. So when you're in the air, is your finger on the clutch, or are you full grip?
We're like this, locked. Like.
So you only get on the clutch.
With the clutch, I literally, this is it. My finger's always on this.
All right, so for me, normal guy, fast guy, neutral setup. Unlike JB's bike, the bars are in a correct position. Sorry, JB. The front brake is proper. I like that. It feels nice. I would hit it a little bit sooner, but I'm not as fast as him, so he can do whatever he wants. I'm a little bit of a throttle play guy. I feel like I would get whiskey throttle if I had no play, but you're fine with whiskey throttle?
Yeah, I mean, it means you're going fast.
A-Ray needs a lot of play in his throttle.
Dude, the whole throttle needs to be play. What do you mean?
Did you test these?
Yeah.
Okay, so why are you on the hardest one?
I like it.
Look at Brandon. When I watch Brandon ride, it reminds me of Jeff Stanton a little bit, if you guys remember that. Do you know who Jeff Stanton is?
I mean, I know he is. I've actually never seen him ride, which is probably bad.
My God. How old are you?
23.
He needs to do some homework on some older riders, I feel like. Anyway,
Definitely.
he has finesse, but you see more of the bulldog inside Brandon when I watch him ride. Is that fair to say?
I'm not mad about it.
I feel like you drive through jumps.
Yeah.
Your footwork is, I feel like you ride heavy on the motorcycle.
Yeah, especially like, for sure. I'll agree with that. Okay. Like in the whoops, I do not hit the tops. I literally am like bulldogging through them. So yeah, that's how I ride. I don't know. I try to ride smooth, but then I guess I do bulldog. It's a mix. Don't you think?
So I think that is why he's on the harder rubber. I think he rides heavy on the bike, so you need more of a stiffer feel. But it's working for him. Honestly, 12th in points?
No, we're battling for 13th in points, so it's not bad.
13th in points, of course, top Suzuki rider, and number 41, Saturday night.
Obviously, like a lot of people don't like brand new bikes, but I love a brand new frame.
You like stiff bikes?
Yeah, like I love, like exactly like you're saying, these are obviously the firmer ones, so I love when the bike's, I wouldn't say rigid, but I like when it's firm, you know? Yeah. So.
Which is rare because a lot of these guys, when they ride their race bikes, they don't like it because it feels too firm. So
every time I rode a new bike, especially on Supercross, like everything's so much easier to jump and like hit whoops. So that's why I liked it.
There you go, number 41, Saturday night. Come by and say hi to him. He'll smile, talk to you, no problem.
I'm nicer than I look.